Hello, everyone. You're back on the wagon with us, the Syn ladies.
I love that it's a new one.
It's a new one every time.
It's great.
Who needs consistency?
We are songwriters.
Artists.
We could probably write something.
I know, we
Except
said that, like,
everything
7
we advise
episodes ago.
about branding and marketing is to stay consistent.
Well, it does. That's what
We
I
should
said.
make a rap parody jingle.
Oh my God,
Yes.
with Lil T. What was it? T.
Welcome
I
to
was
the Syn.
Who was I in that video?
T
Master
Money?
T?
T
Little
Money?
T?
No, I think Lil T.
Little
Wasn't it
T?
Oh yeah, there was Little T, but then there was also T Money. I don't
yeah.
think we ever really settled.
On the shower, we put
Yeah,
money.
it
money
was
signs.
T-Money.
Yeah,
T-Money.
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 I love it.
JP. I feel like
Right now I
JP
am-
is a good rapper name.
yeah.
Well, heck yes.
J pew pew.
What would Sam's be?
Pew, pew, pew.
The stoner.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Stoner. And yours is Makila, obviously.
Makila.
Makila.
If you like,
Makila.
if you want Makila coladas
Makila.
and getting caught in the rain. If you like
My
making love
alter
with Makila. That's just for us.
Oh,
Well,
good.
hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Syn Wagon with Jessica Pearson.
Tara Shannon.
Sam Stone.
But actually Michaela Menzies.
Michaela Menzies.
Yeah.
That is my real birth name.
Is the birth name.
It's true. You can check my birth
Yeah.
certificate.
I don't know.
name
There
of
might be
I
Makila
have
on
got
there.
my driver's license in there. I swear.
Pretty sure it says
Let's
Makila.
legally
but we're
change
fine.
your name
Legally.
to Makila.
You know that?
Let's not.
You know that movie where his name is just McLovin?
Yeah.
On his driver's license?
Yeah.
We were
That's
watching
what I
Superbad.
wanna be.
It's
Superbad,
Makila.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just what it says on
Oh
your
no!
thing.
I
Not
want to
McLovin.
put.
No.
That's what I want my name to be.
No, your name is Makila.
Makila
It's
McLovin.
Makila McLovin. Or McLovin Makila.
So
goes
many
both
possibilities.
Both
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
Endless opportunities here.
Anyways, we're here to talk about music. So, what happened in music on this day in the past? So, in 1995, Alanis Morissette's album what was it? Jagged Pill? Little Pill?
Jagged Little Pill.
Jagged Little Pill. All 3 words were in there. Came out. That's the
Really?
date,
On this day, 1995.
Oh.
I was not born.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
I was
Makila
born.
like 3 years later.
3 years later.
I actually,
That's
I
so
didn't know that was
awful.
95. I thought it was a little later because because that album was like a huge album for me in my childhood. I mean,
Yeah, I grew
I
up
don't know.
listening
There
to
must
that
have been
album,
a
but I was
parental
not born
advisor.
when it came out.
Were there? When did parental advisories come in? Because I'm like, when that came out, I was 6 years old, and I remember like that album was a huge part of my childhood. So was
most of
my
it be
parents letting me
okay.
listen to You Ought to Know at 6 years old?
Well, yeah, that would be the line going down on you in a theater would be the
Okay,
line
but
that would be a
let's be
problem.
honest.
But I think her later work, there was a video she did where she was naked in the video.
Yeah.
It was thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
India. Or
Yeah.
it was
And her
after she
hair
went
was
through it with
just
mom.
covering her
Yes,
bosom.
exactly.
Yes.
So I think maybe there might have been an advisory on that, but I don't remember there being one on Jagged Little Pill. But I could be wrong.
No,
I don't
but, like,
know.
there's so
I let
many
my kids listen to
songs.
Eminem when they were like 8.
There's so many songs I used to sing as a child, and then like I hear today, and I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
I was screaming that at the top of
Yeah,
my
because you don't know what
lungs.
it means.
No.
You're just
boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room.
go spend the night together for now until forever.
Boom, 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 boom. I want a double boom to spend the night together in my room. I sang
Well,
that.
after that, we need
Okay,
to put a
what
parental
song is
advisory
that?
on
I
this
do-
podcast.
This
Mine
podcast
was
episode.
some. I think it was. I can't remember who sings this, but it's like you spin my head right round when you go down. Like, I
when
was
you
singing
go-
that when
yeah.
I was like
Down,
10.
There's
Oh
so
my
many
gosh.
like that.
Mine
I
was the
also
Grease
did
one.
The
The
Grease?
Grease soundtrack.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
that's
yes.
that's true. Too.
Terrible for
Lil
children.
Wayne's Lollipop.
Oh,
yeah.
my
50
gosh.
Cent Candy
So
Shop.
many.
Yeah.
I was a child model, and I did
Yes, you were.
fashion shows. And I was always like the one kid who was like in the kids line, or like it was a wedding dress line. I was the flower girl kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the agency we worked with like had a pretty predictable playlist for a while, or it was like the same shows for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And one of the songs, and again, I was like 6 years old, 6 or 7. And one of the songs was, let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things love can bring. And whatever.
talk about sex.
The power of a catchy melody.
And I would like sing that song 24/7. And my parents were like, okay, like you can't sing that song at school.
yeah. Don't sing that outside
And
the
I was
house.
like, why? And they were like, just because we say so.
We'll explain it in about 6 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
But there's so many that I think of that I'm like, oh my God, I sang that out loud. And my parents never said anything. That Shaggy, when you caught me on the counter,
It wasn't me.
Saw me banging on the sofa. I literally like that, like, oh, I can't remember what the line was. But also, like, the words I thought they were saying were definitely like not
Yeah,
words.
that happens a lot too.
But the power of that album, though,
Oh,
coming back
yes.
to the album,
Yeah, again, a little bit of a tangent.
because she came from a pop dance record
Yes.
she did with Mercury Records, I believe. And then just kind of went away after it wasn't renewed or she got out of her contract, whatever the deal was, and went down and just wrote and wrote and wrote. And then the iconic, her and Glenn Ballard and the whole thing. But what was so interesting was when that album was released, women, like the angst and women, like that wasn't a thing yet. She made that a thing.
Yeah.
And just the power of the influence on pop culture. And I'd have to check the stats now, but it was the top selling album of all time. Like it beat out Michael Jackson's Thriller record at some point. So I don't know if that's true at the moment. I haven't checked, but it was like that impactful on a global scale, you know? So yeah.
Well, and she just grabbed people's attention.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was doing what she was doing.
Yeah. She was,
especially as a woman.
yes.
And she just became, I feel like in that era, and I think for like the rest of her career, she just became like unapologetically who she was and was just like, this is me, this is my music, take
what I have
it
to
or
say.
leave it.
That's right.
And again, that's the power of first off, great songs that
Yeah.
are connecting, but also the power of being authentically you and not trying to fit into things or morphing yourself into what's popular now.
And she couldn't get it picked up.
Yeah.
Like it, and folklore says, again, this is folklore around this, that nobody would touch it except Madonna's label, Maverick Records, came in at the last minute with to say, because I think they were going to give up. And then again, folklore is that the album was dropped off at K-Rock in LA in a brown paper bag with no information on it.
Like a cassette tape, just in a brown paper bag, I think, is what I heard. It would have
Would
been
CDs have been a thing then? Whatever.
it would have been at the beginning, I think.
Yeah, I think, but no information on it, just dropped off. And they played You Ought to Know. And it just took off like wildfire. And then the rest is history. But so that there was no preconceived ideas or notions about what it should be, because she had already had a couple of hits in this dance pop world. So those are, I love those stories. Whether they're true or not, I don't know. But, I just love those stories. And that album is still influencing generations to this day.
Oh, 100%.
And now it's a musical on Broadway,
Yes.
which is coming to Ottawa.
I'm so excited.
That's
But
so
again,
cool.
like the power of great music and great songs. And then again, like whether or not it was obviously a conscious decision for, again, if this is the truth, to drop it off with nothing on it, right? Just in the bag, here it is, no information. Like that is a choice, a marketing choice you're making to kind of stand out and be different, but then also to ignore the influence of having her name and thinking of past stuff.
Yeah.
To be able to come out new that way. And the fact that, like, again, her album is still being listened to, her songs are still relevant today, and is a Broadway musical and is touring. Like, there's just so much that comes from a great song, but also like the marketing that they did to get it out there. So
yeah, it was really, and it's her music and the way she writes is so unique.
Yes.
And as I'm working on an album right now where we're covering the Canadian female artists who influenced me in my artist journey. And so Alanis obviously has to be on there.
Oh, 100%.
And covering one of her songs has been the most difficult artistic thing because I don't know any other writer that fits that many syllables into a phrasing the way that she does. And like your brain is wrestling with it because the structure of it is not, it's so unique. And she just, the way she emphasizes the right syllables is just so unique to her. So the thing with doing cover music is you want to take the song and make it your own. That's what you're trying to do. But she is so fiercely unique and totally, it's difficult to take it and make it your own because
it's written like by her,
is
for her.
Yeah.
It is her, right? So
And
then
she
when you're
doesn't
taking
follow
it-
a lot of the conventional
Yes.
commercial like structure suggestions that a lot of people, you know,
Exactly.
operate by, but she
No.
still manages to be commercial.
oh my God. Yeah.
How cool is that? Like that's just
know.
such a cool like to be so unique, but to also be so commercial and so well received. Like that's
Yeah,
It's
I
a
mean,
power.
she was, I mean, they had a ton of success, but well received, not always and everywhere, and particularly
correct.
with Ottawa, her hometown.
Yeah.
She was banned
She
in
was
a lot
not
of places.
well
Really?
received.
I did
Oh
not
yeah,
know that.
no,
Me
she was.
either.
Yeah, she had a ton of backlash and negative press to deal with. Because she wasn't the quiet little nice girl. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, I'm gonna smile and be pretty and
Yeah.
and do what the music industry says to do. She was calling everybody out, and
Yeah.
she's calling out people that are like people that were supposed to protect her that didn't,
Yeah.
and music industry
Yeah.
execs that hurt her and harmed her. Like, and she was just like, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
like-
speak
Yeah.
my truth.
Yeah.
I heard
And,
her in
yeah.
an interview actually a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I heard it a couple weeks ago. I don't know if the interview was from a couple weeks ago, but she was talking about just like her artist journey and career, and she was referencing something her dad said back then to her, and was I guess like he said something to her basically like, some people are gonna love you, some people are gonna hate you. In fact, a lot of people might hate you. And it's going to be either way, no matter what you do, whether you do everything the way they want you to, whether they do everything your own way. So you might as well just do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And she was like, when I finally gave in to that, she's like, that stuck with me. And I just started doing whatever the hell I
And
wanted to do.
She was releasing again 1995. There wasn't all this crazy social media that we have today.
No.
Now you literally sing on an airplane and you're a terrorist. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like people are going to hate you for just because they want to hate.
Did you say
someone.
you sing on an airplane?
Yeah.
And now you're a terrorist?
And now I'm a
Yeah,
terrorist.
you might want to
Okay.
provide context.
Oh no, you'll figure it out. But like again, like with TikTok,
Going viral isn't always what it's cracked up to be.
No,
That's
going
all I'll say.
viral. Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many like being scared of people hating you is like you can't have that as an artist, especially in today's like music industry because of social media. People are going to hate you because they're trolls. People are going to hate you because they've decided to. Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
People are going to just say that they don't like you for clout and be like, you know what? No, I never liked this person.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
and-
been true always.
Always.
It's
Yeah.
just
But it's
that
like-
the outlets for it were much more minimal. Like you had traditional press.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's
And it's
that's
People
harder to
have a
hear
bigger
this.
platform or a more accessible platform.
Like now people
to
can like DM all
express
these
their
artists.
unsolicited opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can unsolicit my music, but I don't want your unsolicited opinions about it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's interesting, like, to tie that into marketing. Like, when, like, for your situation, like, going viral and then, like, now going into, like a new single and marketing that. Or, like, even, like, Alanis, like, how she went from, like, a super pop record to, like, this. Like, it's, like, we are expected to, like, reinvent ourselves, like, over and over again.
Yes.
And, like, how do you navigate that? Like, how do you feel about it?
Oh my God. Well, okay. So for those who don't know, in January, at the very end of January, a lot of us, basically everyone here except for Tara was living in a castle, and us three
We were being traumatized.
We were being
actually
yes.
no, it was kind of
it
fun.
was actually a great time. We
I
had
was
The
in
trauma
Ireland
came
waiting
later.
for you,
Yes,
but I was
Tara
not in a castle.
was off in a beautiful wilderness castle.
No, I was powerless and terrified in Ireland because I couldn't save my artist.
I know. And us three plus Little J were were on a plane. We were flying from Toronto to Iceland for a layover, and then from Iceland to Ireland. When we landed in Iceland, there was a windstorm of 115 kilometers, and we weren't able to deboard. So we were on the plane like for already 5.5 hours, and we ended up being on the plane for another like 11 hours.
115 kilometer per hour winds.
Winds. Oh, what did I say?
Outside the plane.
You just missed a few words.
I just missed some words, you know. See, this is what decaf does to me. I just end up skipping words sometimes. Imagine caffeine. I just skip full sentences. Maybe even just some letters. I just start speaking a new language. But
decaf and trauma.
and trauma. Exactly. This is trauma. Trauma bonding. Anyways, oh my God. Wow. Why am I going down this hole? End. Cut. Okay. New start. Hello. So after this experience, when we were on the plane, the pilot asked us to play some music because we had brought our instruments with us to try and help bring up morale, keep people's spirits high. We were running out of food and water. So we're like, distract. And we're like, of course, we are your distraction for use. And we had a great time. We were taking requests. People joined in. It was a lot of fun. And it was just a great way to try and help people through a very stressful time for a lot of people. Anyways, to keep this short, put a video on TikTok. It went viral. I was then a terrorist for holding people hostage for 10 hours, forcing them to listen to me sing Country Roads over and over again.
That was the narrative
Like,
that
people made their
created.
own narrative about
That's what
had
people decided
happened.
happened. That's not what happened, but that's what people decided happened. And anyways, the video got over like 1 million views, and then but it was still just so much hate. And so we did a parody video of me doing the exact same thing, but in an elevator, told everyone in the elevator to just look like they hate their lives. And they acted super well. Very good acting skills in this elevator crew. And put that video on, and then that went viral. Anyways, overall, there's a bunch of million views on it. But it was
The whole
really,
thing's coming up to 400 million views across all platforms. It just kept going, and all the major outlets jumped on this storyline that you had inflicted non-consensual live music on trapped passengers because it's really great clickbait and it makes money. And regardless of, and did you see the thing that I sent you? This speech?
Dylan's speech?
No.
The BBC one you just sent?
No. Titanic, actress Titanic.
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet was accepting an award for a documentary she did with her daughter.
Oh, no. I
About
didn't see
social
this.
media.
Oh, yeah.
And her messaging was that we need to make harmful content criminal.
Yes.
Because, and it was so beautiful. Anyways, it's out there in the world. Look up Kate Winslet's speech. Because my issue with that whole thing, other than people just being terrible humans, because, you're getting death threats. People are telling you to kill yourself. They're threatening to smash your face in with a rock. They're going to shoot you. Like, it was insanity, like a level of mob mentality I've never experienced. But what I was upset with was that platforms reward it. So the accounts get throttled up and they go viral because it detects this conflict, this thing happening. And so we cannot be rewarding harmful content.
Oh, exactly. If you're not allowed to say the word naked in a video on TikTok, or you get taken down, flagged, or shadow banned, where
Violating
no one's
community guidelines.
Exactly, for saying the word naked, but someone can
The nudist community.
but someone can post a comment saying that you'd be my 13th reason, or this would cause me to do 9/11. Like, you're basically doing acts of war, and then responding with videos like, I'm gonna go kill myself, pretending to shoot yourself in the head with a gun as a stitch. Like, how are we promoting this? Again, like, everyone here knows these beautiful human beings were so supportive and amazingly there for me. I've suffered with depression my whole life, and I've finally got like medication and therapy over the past couple years. But like, in that moment when it first all went down, this overwhelming, like, it went from 200 views to like the next day it was at like 500,000 views, 5,000 comments, and again, 99.99999% of those were, you'd be my 13th reason. You should go kill yourself. How ignorant you are. You should have jumped out of the plane. I would have punched you. This is why guns should be allowed on planes. Like, that overwhelmment, like, I went to a low that I hadn't been at in a very long time in my mental health journey. But the fact that I was surrounded by you guys who were so supportive and so loving, I was able to find a place to be in that was a good place. But I can't even imagine not of having you guys there, because if that wasn't the case, if I wasn't with such a supportive people, like I probably would have went down a fully other very destructive path.
Yeah.
You know, and there are people out there who are getting hating on and online like cyberbullied for the littlest things and don't have that support, you know, that don't have that around them and people there to be like, these are people who are very like, and you can say these are sad people. These are people who are just being mean.
No.
Yes, no, but that still doesn't change the fact that they're hating on you with so much energy.
And also, like, that happened, everything that happened with you, right, was based on like a twisted narrative that was not based in truth.
Yeah.
There's also such, and like, look how like dark and awful that was for you. And really, like, somewhere inside of you, even though it was like suppressed at that time, you knew that wasn't the truth, and you knew you did nothing wrong, and you knew that it was like a beautiful moment. And you have that to hang on to. What happens? There's lots of people who they just genuinely make mistakes in their lives.
Yes.
They end up on the internet and they receive all that hate. And where is like the grace and humanity for someone to like make a mistake and like seek forgiveness and like move through that and forgive themselves and move on? Like, imagine like
People are hanging on to like every bad thing you've done.
Look how awful that was for you, and there was like zero truth in it.
Yeah, it was all manufactured.
Imagine in situations when we're human, people make mistakes. We do things maybe we're not proud of.
Yes.
They get broadcasted in whatever way, and like
demand.
Like, I just can't imagine like seeing you go through what you have gone through and like being a part of this team and that. And like, again, we were fighting it and feeling awful about it, and it wasn't even true.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Like, imagine.
And there should be some accountability.
Yeah.
There has to be some accountability. Like in true journalism, there's accountability. We don't have true journalism anymore. It's so rare. It's so when an outlet like, you know, Barstool posts an article with a headline that says this should come with a mandatory year in jail, like as an outlet with that much reach and that much influence, you should take a second and you should double check your information.
Yes, and research,
right?
like,
and do and maybe like reach out. It's not like we're not accessible, you know. And the other thing that was shocking to me, and I'm going to get right riled up on this whole thing because I'm still furious about it. Clearly, was because when you did interviews with BuzzFeed and Vice and Insider, there was a collective obsession about going viral.
It was all about, and like that was what was also shocking. And like, I'm in such a better place now. It's been months. I've done a lot of healing on myself, and like I'm in a really great place that I still get, like, it's months later, I still get comments that are like, you are a horrid human being. Someone was calling me like a fat C word, like all this stuff. And I still get them like every day, but they don't affect me anymore because I've done so much healing on myself, and I've come to the point where like I've been able to separate both situations, you know, and I know the truth. I know what happened. Going back to Iceland, as all being there, like, was such a healing moment for me that needed to happen. But it was just so shocking that through all of this, like, we released statements, we tried to do it multiple different ways to try and see how to deal with it. Because when this happens, you can't defend yourself. There's no room for you to defend, but there's also no room for you to correct.
No.
You know?
No.
And
it just makes it worse.
Which makes it worse because you literally are powerless. Because whatever you do, they're going to find something wrong with what you've done and how you've gone about it.
It's a total, like, it's like mass psychosis. Like, it's like a societal mass psychosis. The mob mentality. There's no, and people come for the sport of it. They come to the comments for the sport of watching.
It's modern day gladiator.
It's modern day Coliseum gladiator stuff.
It is
crazy.
It's who can say the worst thing, who can go that dark.
Yeah.
And people go in and like saw this video, went right to the comments, laughing out loud.
Right.
Like, I'm living for the comments.
Living for the comments.
And literally living for the comments that are all about death and
killing myself.
suicide,
And
which
exactly.
is
It's
awful.
Like, it's awful.
Yeah.
And it's also comes to the point too, like, as a musician, it's like, how do you like want to promote or sell your music on these platforms. And we have to. I mean, we don't have to, but like
That's our
but we're
single
pretty
biggest
cornered. We're
tool
pretty
we
cornered.
have.
it is,
you know?
yeah.
You
Like
are.
you really do, and you have to like put yourself out there on that, knowing full well
Exactly.
that could happen.
And people weren't just going to that one video. They would then go to all of my other
Yeah.
videos of music that I put out and being like, you suck. How dare you do this? I can't believe you succumbed all these people to it. But going back to your fact too, is like the amount of then musicians that I got 2 things from musicians.
Fellow musicians.
Fellow musicians. Now, the ones that I know and I love were so supportive, but I got 2 reactions. One was musicians commenting on there being like, I would never have done this. How inconsiderate. I'm a professional musician. I'm like, you're just commenting to try and get people to go to your page. That's all you're doing. Or people messaging being like, oh my God, how'd you go viral? And I was like,
What was your strategy?
what was your strategy? I'm like, I'm so sorry. You want this to happen to you?
Yeah.
You
No.
want to be like berated like this? Like I just,
But
but it
most
was,
people don't, right? They even the people saying that to you, like maybe they did realize how much hate you were getting, but all they see is the numbers.
All
And
they see is
again,
numbers.
society and these platforms and everything happening right now is just we're baited with this thing of like, if you
Yes.
go viral, it's like the thing that's going to launch you and save you. It's like these another one of these things that are generally untrue. Most people who go viral, either it's completely unintentional, really, and they get caught up in something, or when you see them go viral, there is money and time and a machine behind that, working that
Working
and working that
constantly.
strategy. And it makes it look like it just randomly went viral. And people will even get on a stage at a concert and be like, my life changed in 2 minutes. It's usually not true. And Tara and I were at a concert not long ago, and that happened. This artist was up there, major label artist, singing away. And he told the story. I was
Working parts
working
at
in
a
an auto
dealership.
parts store, and they just all of a sudden someone walked in one day,
Said, you can sing. We want to
Yeah,
sign you.
right.
And then and here I am on this major tour opening for this artist.
And that's not
both of us
what-
just looked at each other. We were like, this.
Nope.
Well, this is why we have the jobs we have, actually. So thank you. Thank you for thank you for perpetuating the myth, because then we get all the confused people that come to us and
Yeah.
we're like, it's a myth.
and people love to hear these stories.
Yeah.
Same with like
They
all
love the
these,
Cinderella
all the talent
stories.
shows and stuff that are
Yeah.
out there. There's
Yep.
a place for them, and like they can be beneficial to your career and your marketing plan if you know what you're doing, in my opinion, and you use it and build it as part of your
Yeah.
strategy, and you know you have a team looking out for you and you do things the right way.
Yeah.
But again, these shows make it seem like these people
Yeah.
were just like working at the farm, and all of a
Picked
sudden one
plucked
day
out of
like
the streets.
ended up
Literally.
on, which it's never the case. Like it's just
working on a farm.
But people love these Cinderella stories,
Yeah.
right? We've
Yeah.
all grown up in these fairy tales, and it translates in different altered versions in many walks of life and industries. And that, again, these shows are built for viewers, for ads, for sponsorship, for money.
And going viral is sort of the new version of this, being discovered thing.
Exactly.
And it's not to say that it doesn't happen. Yes, it is happening in the sense that major labels are signing a lot of talent based on activity on these platforms and stuff. But there's some not great stuff that's happening with that. So yes, they do
yeah.
have an established audience. And yes, so the risk factor for the investment is lower. But what we're also seeing is those artists, you can't put them on a stage. They have no idea what to do because
Yep.
they've been singing to a camera in their room or whatever it is they're doing. So the development process of getting them into the live performance, and even like in recording studios and stuff. And so you see this common pattern of these artists, like these labels watching and then swooping in as soon as there's this whatever viral activity happening, and they latch on to whatever's making money because they're big business and that's what they should do. And then realizing there's a limit to what this artist can do as far as other income streams, and then they're getting dropped.
Yeah.
So, so this whole going viral thing is
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the obsession with it, a friend made me laugh. The artist Aaron Goodvin.
Oh,
do you know
yes,
it?
yes, yes.
He posted it to TikTok and he was like, I can play guitar and I can sing songs and I've had songs on the radio and I've had number ones, but apparently the only thing that matters is going viral.
Yes.
Going viral. And so he did this whole
Oh my
shtick with this other
gosh.
songwriter thing. And I laughed so hard and I was like, it is the saddest commentary, but so true. So
And when you go viral too, like I have a friend of mine who's been an active professional musician for so long and like hustling hardcore, plays all over the world. And a bunch of his videos, he went on the TikTok, he was doing it, and a bunch of his videos started going viral. But he's now struggling with the fact that he has to make like 3 videos a day. He's now becoming more of a content creator than the artist he was. So he's struggling to find this balance of writing songs and creating music for his artistry, for going out on tour and doing these things.
What his true passion is.
His true passion is, and he's putting a lot more of his focus on creating this content and all these videos to put online.
that's
right?
such an important point. And I think that, I don't know if this is where this conversation was
I feel
supposed
like,
to go
you know
today,
what? Hey, this is one thing I love about us and why I was so, like, I really wanted to start a podcast is because we can start with one thing, but then we just let the universe tell us what we need to talk
And this
about.
is like, it is all still relevant to the icon that Alanis is in the sense that you only reach that status or have that impact on the world when you are in alignment with who you are, to the core of who you are. And we, in this world of social media and chasing being viral and all that stuff, you can move yourself away from your own authenticity or being in alignment. So it's like there are traps. They get us all trapped in what we think we should be doing. So it is relevant and it is tied in together. And the point about content creator versus using social media. So you really only have sort of 3 options. You have don't use social media, which is totally fine. You can choose to do that. You're limiting yourself. You're limiting your ability to build an audience, but you could literally never be on social media and tour and do small shows or whatever and live a troubadour type life and work with venues and they'll post it on theirs, whatever. So you can do that. It's not ideal because there's an expectation these days that people can find you on places. Okay. Then the other one is to use social media to build to sort of support what you're doing in the real world. Right? You're creating music, you're doing shows. So you're using it as a communication tool and stuff. And then there's becoming a content creator, which is an entirely different thing. And what happens, I find a lot, is in the second lane, people have the expectation of results that the content creator gets, but they're not being content creators. They're using it but then they're frustrated and angry when their posts don't get any traction and stuff. But being a content creator is a full-time job.
Oh, yes.
To get any of these platforms to work for you, you have to feed that machine with so much content. So creative, consistent, copious amounts of content.
The 3 C's.
I think 4. Creative, consistent, copious amounts of content.
Damn, the 4 C's.
4 C's. I think I added copious in there because it's true. You need to feed it so much content. And you have to be on it. You have to be spending money in the ads budget. Nothing is random. And you're living that lifestyle. And like you just stated, what that does, it can drain you as an artist because it's not your main thing that you do when you create music. So we're kind of fed this idea that we should be able to build our audiences in this digital space and have success without becoming a content creator.
Exactly.
But
and
you can't.
We have the opposite happening too, where we are having these content creators who are getting all these views. So labels pick them up and throw them on stage, but they've never played full shows. They've never done this. And then they're lacking the actual artistry that comes with the years of writing songs and performing and connecting with your audience and creating set lists and
Working
all
with
this
live
people.
musicians.
Yes.
Yes. Playing for 2 people, playing for 1,000 people, right? Playing with live musicians, being a band leader, all these things that come from learning, from practice, from doing. And we're taking these content creators and throwing them into it. So then they also don't have a way for full success in that lane because they've never had that experience.
They're totally different disciplines.
They're different disciplines, but we are expected in both lanes to have both of those.
So it's completely unrealistic. So if you're out there and you're tearing your hair out because your social media content isn't doing what you think it should be doing, take a deep breath. Because, the way those platforms are designed, they're designed to keep you hooked. Like there's a whole addiction thing that's happening around this social media and just our phones in general. That's actually very serious. And because so much time has passed now with it, we actually have data to support the effect that this is having on young minds and everybody's minds. So try not being with your phone for an hour.
I had to. When this all started happening.
We took your phone away and your social media accounts.
I kept my phone because we were in, I was going to say foreign land. We were in the US. So like I had my phone on so we can connect during the conference, but like I deleted all my social medias off my app. And it was so weird because the instinct, it was almost like I could feel like what it would be like if I was a smoker.
Yes.
Because I wanted to reach for my phone, but I was like, there's nothing on there to look at.
Right.
But I constantly would want to go to it. Right. And it's like, wow, like how crazy that addiction is.
Yes.
And we've kind of touched on this topic too, like between ourselves as well, is like the mental health. When you get a video that goes viral for good reasons, well, not for good reason, but with good comments, or like your post gets like 200 likes, that's an adrenaline rush. That's your dopamine hit. That's, oh my God, look at this. Look at all this love that's happening. Then you post the next day and it only gets 4 likes or 90 likes. And you're like, oh my God, why don't people like me anymore? And down it goes. So then you're creating and you're constantly thinking of this. And it's this cycle.
Whether it's conscious or not.
Whether it's conscious or not.
happening.
Like it's, I didn't realize that was ingrained in me now until I didn't have my social media on me. And I was like,
And you have zero control.
Yes.
We have zero control over what the algorithm is deciding to do with your content. You don't own it the minute you upload it. And the algorithm decides who sees it. And right now, I think, and this changes almost weekly, the percentage. So on average, 4% of your followers see your content organically. Think about that. That's insane. You know, and so because the platforms are designed for you to put money into them. So to spend money on ads. And the minute you spend money on ads, they'll throttle up your account and more people will see it, which is great. The minute you stop spending money, they throttle the account down, which pings the dopamine receptors, and you need more. And you want the fix again. So you spend more money on the ads platform. It is as powerful and has as much of a hold on your brain as using cocaine.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. Like and it's crazy.
But it's like a necessary evil at this point.
Yeah, like you.
So
have to use
I mean, let's
in a
break that
sense.
down. Why is it necessary? Like, what would happen if we all just like practically?
But see, this is the thing.
What would
Well,
happen if we all
everybody
stopped?
did?
No, the 4. Let's just use the 4 of us.
Yeah.
4 artists. You know, we don't use social media. So look at the shows that are coming up. How would we then tell people? So we have your email lists.
Yes.
You have your
So
subscribers.
I think
You
that's
can
it.
email.
If your concern is to build email lists, awesome. Because at your shows, like at festivals that you get booked for, you can literally have a piece of paper. You can have a QR code that just goes to your sign up. Bam, people are signing up for it. You send out your newsletters. It's a great way to be interactive with your audience, to give free things they can purchase from it. Like email lists will never go away. You literally need email for everything. But the only way you're going to build fans is by going to those shows and playing shows that people are coming to that are going to build up.
Well, there are other ways, but again, you still
like,
need
let's
to
say
be
you've
putting
never
marketing
released
and
music.
ads, because you're only going to get emails of people who are
Already
already
there.
coming to your show, let's say, based on what has been said so far. So that's the problem. Eventually you max that out. Like, how do you reach and expand new fans? And that's what the positive thing
I'm
about
curious,
the internet
like-
is and stuff. But you don't necessarily have to do it through socials, which is your point, I think, where you're headed, and that you can build email lists and memberships and subscriber lists, newsletter lists that are email based without using social specifically.
Yes.
You can
how do you
target
get
in
more
other
people?
ways with other digital marketing, not on social media. So like it's possible,
But
obviously.
how was it done before? Like before,
I can tell you
that's what I was
because
gonna
you
say.
weren't even
It's like,
born yet.
I was not born yet.
That's it. How was it done before? Well, we called people. You created posters. You put posters up.
phone?
Yeah, we called people on a rotary phone. Like you called certain
dial.
people. Like you
Hey,
had a fan
Melvin's
base
coming
of
out.
people, and people just talked about it and spread the word. Probably more than they do now, really, because people rely on social media.
Yes.
But postering was the main thing. The venues that you played at had a draw, their own draw of people that would come. Right, they would expect to see certain shows. I mean,
All those
we would
things
do
work,
things like,
obviously.
the advertising in like cinemas, like those,
Yes.
you would, and then you would do newspapers and print and
I guess
press.
newspapers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And so-
flyers on cars.
If you were
was
starting
fun.
from scratch, flyers and cars. If you were starting from scratch, you have now written songs and you're going to be releasing, but you've never created social media. You've just created a website. You've just created your email list. You have no one on there. you could still build it. You could go to open mic nights and start playing and try and get some signups from there and just play literally every open mic night you can find. And then you can start connecting with those different artists and play shows and start trying to create good connections with venues to be like, I'd love to be an opener. If bands are coming through that are looking for openers, please suggest me if they fit the branding. And then you can, again, like have those email lists ready to go for new fans that you like of those artists that you're opening for come in. It would just be very slow, very tedious to do it, but you could do it for sure.
For sure. All of those things still work, and technically any artist should still also be doing those things in addition to social media.
But like you said, Tara, is that as human society right now, remember when Facebook and Instagram went down for like
8 hours?
8 hours?
Yeah.
Like, people rely so heavily now on social media that I feel like it would work if everyone came off of it.
Right.
You know, if everyone came off of it, then it
there
would
was
work.
like a walkout.
If there was a full, if every single person walked out on social media, it would work. But because it has now in like, not even in that long of a time, it has interwoven itself into our daily lives. On how businesses, everything is run online.
But it's very
now.
different for artists. This is the thing. Like if you have a coffee shop, you know, and you have your ads budget, and your content is, you know, you're posting your brew, your morning brew that you chose for that day, or, you know, like the way that another type of business for something like that needs to deal with social media is nowhere near the same effect and the way that artists need to, because what it's also done is it's raised the expectation of access.
Yes.
So artists used to have sort of a filter or a boundary almost. You couldn't, especially if you got more and more known.
They were like protected to a
They were
certain
protected.
extent.
And, you know, you had to go to like a VIP meet and greet thing if you wanted to meet your heroes, your artist heroes, you know, and you joined their fan clubs to have a feeling of access and stuff. And now not only we have total access, the expectation is more and more and more. Like the expectation is to see the artist in their life and all the other aspects, and there be like this connection, this emotional connection.
And to know like immediately if they have a new boyfriend or girlfriend, if they break up, if they're engaged, if they just had a baby. It's like
You're expected
if
to
someone
do
doesn't
that.
reveal post a picture of their child and reveal their name, it's like the media's obsessed. Like everyone's obsessed
Their
for like
weddings, their
how long,
everything.
like why haven't they revealed the name? And this celebrity or artist is just like, I want to protect my child or keep this private, or just like cherish this as long as I can, whatever the reasons are, which they have full right. They can have no reason. It can be because I said so, but it's like people get angry about it
Because they
They
feel
feel
they're
entitled.
they
entitled.
feel entitled to knowing about every aspect of their life. Their
And
lives.
like in a way, like we also all kind of play into it because like we all want to know. Like
Exactly.
there's part of us, I think that there's part of us that like want to be connected to something that's like so inspiring to us, or like spark something. But it's also like, like I was thinking this, the first thought of like when you were like, oh, like what would we do if we all, and I was like, how am I going to share my pictures?
Right.
Like,
Because you love sharing your pictures.
because I love sharing my photos. Like, and it's not because of the likes. Like, it's not.
just
It's
love
just
to do it.
because like that's what I do.
It's a creative outlet. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's like. I think the freedom is in exactly that. It's your why. Why are you using social media? And also sort of disconnecting yourself from the emotional fix, or giving it any power to validate you in any way, like by your likes and stuff like that. And then aligning your expectations so you don't get frustrated. Like to truly understand what it is to be a content creator, that's a whole other path. If you're using it to just support your messaging and connect with fans and build community, you have to lower your expectation of what's going to happen, you know, and so that you can find a comfort zone and make friends with it. And we coach about this all day long. Is how do you make friends with social media? How do you stay yourself, stay healthy mentally and emotionally, do enough work so that and be really aligned with your why, and let go of any expectation. It's like social media is this really weird thing because it's kind of like sold to us as connection, and there is a level of connection on some form. And again, and then on top of that, every platform is different.
Yes.
and what your angle for your posts and what you're communicating is different. And Instagram is such a unique thing, and TikTok's so unique, and Facebook is so different. So there's a lot of education that goes into using social media effectively. And I think collectively, everybody just needs to be honest about how exhausting it can feel.
Oh my gosh,
and I mean,
yes.
I take regular breaks. I'm the first, because I didn't grow up with this stuff. Okay. So I did all my dumb shit before the internet. Thank goodness. So I take regular breaks where I'm just like, I don't want to post. And I have not a huge fan base, but I have a fan base, and I'll get like, hey, when are you doing your next Wind Down Wednesday? And just the idea of committing to like a live stream, I'm just like, oh my God, I can't. By the time I get to 8:00 on Wednesdays, I'm exhausted, and it's okay. So like that starts in here though, because the old me was such a people pleaser that I would have it would have been crushing the idea that I was disappointing somebody. I would have been like, oh my God,
Well,
I'll
and
do
you
a
get
live
in
stream
this
every
vicious
night.
cycle because you do commit to these things, you do it consistently.
Yeah.
Then you gain this loyal fan base.
Yeah.
And now you feel like if you don't continue it, you're like wasting all the work you did up to that point, even if it was soul sucking while you were doing it.
Well, exactly.
And then you get in this battle of like,
Yeah.
are you doing it because you enjoy it? Are you doing it because you feel like you have to do it? Are you doing it because you feel like you're going to undo all the work you did up to that point?
I think that it's important to note that it's not linear, right? So as far as undoing the work, if somebody comes to you and they're fans and they follow you, I think that stays. A lot of people think social media is not linear. Like if you post something today, post something tomorrow, people aren't going to see it in that order.
No,
right? It's random. It's all over the place. So that really helped me kind of let go of some pressure of how I'm posting and when and where, because they don't see it in the same order that it should just be
unless
fluid
somebody's
and sporadic.
really going to your page and starting somewhere and working their way through because they're researching you because you applied to something and they're checking out what you're doing.
They're not
or they're a super fan, which is awesome.
Exactly. And I think there again, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, and there's gonna be so many episodes that we're gonna talk about because we haven't even touched cancel culture, which is a whole thing. There's so many different things when it comes to social media that artists have to deal with.
Yes.
But I think leaving it there is going to be the best in the sense of you have to know your why. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And you have to find joy in what you're doing, right? If you're going at it because you're I'm going to gain 50,000 more followers and that's my goal, then you're going to be spending ad money and you're going to be doing this and you're going to be doing that. And it's going to be a lot of content. But if you're going from it in the sense of, I just want to share my photos. I just love taking these. I want to share them.
If Instagram goes down, I'm starting a newspaper.
Yeah.
Or a magazine.
The Makila newspaper.
Makila News.
Makila News. But that's it, right? Because that's a passion of yours that you love and you just love sharing it with people.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And if you
Makila
can
News,
stay in that mindset of just the fun of it and just sharing, because that's the other thing that people do wrong is they think social media is a sales platform.
Yes.
It is not a sales platform. So if you're on social media and the only thing you're ever saying is come to my show, buy my t-shirt, download my single, pre-save, people tune out because it's relationship based. So if you had a neighbor that every time you saw your neighbor when they came over, they were just asking for something, can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? You would get tired of that neighbor if they're not reciprocating.
Yeah.
So, think of the ATM method, which is a phrase coined by Miles Beckler, who's a digital marketing specialist. And it's you want to deposit before you withdraw. So it's an 80-20 thing. So everything you put on social media is sharing and connecting and having fun and kind of thing. And then 2 out of 10 posts, so that's 8 out of 10, 2 out of 10 posts, there can be an ask. Download my song or stuff like that. And if you can find that balance and stuff, you'll grow your following because they feel connected to you in a relationship.
Exactly.
But you really always need to be coming at it from an authentic and fun place, because if you're not having fun with it, just don't do it, because the repercussions on your mental health and emotional health are
and it's not sustainable.
far-reaching.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable
and it's
if you're not
not
having
worth
fun.
it in the end. It's
Yeah.
not worth it. If it's not going to bring you joy, then why are we doing it? You know what I mean?
And just know that there's a lot of perils on social media, and and again, the whole viral thing, and you're not the whole chasing things. Coming back to again, Alanis, she wasn't chasing something, when she made that iconic record. She was discovering and exploring who she was, and then choosing to reveal that to the world.
I love that. It's not about chasing, it's about discovering. You know,
Yeah.
we have
Just being.
and
too.
being.
Yeah.
It's not looking outside, it's looking inside.
Yeah.
Because when we look
Always.
inside, we find what we need. Literally everything we ever need in this world is inside of ourselves. And so if we find that inside, then it shines even brighter outside. And everything just comes to us, you know?
100%.
And I think that's it. She wasn't chasing being the number one album. She was discovering herself and letting that shine out from her.
And taking a huge risk.
And a huge risk.
And I mean, if I ever get the chance to chat with her, that'd be my first question. Like, how terrified were you?
Oh my gosh,
You know,
yes.
and you know, watching her career and who she's come, I will forever be imprinted with her performance of Ablaze on the Jimmy Fallon show with her baby on her hip
During the
during the
pandemic.
pandemic. So
Yes.
it was in her library area of her home, and she just had, I think, her third, and I forget her children's names, but on her hip, and she just sang Ablaze right there, baby on hip, and I was like, oh my God, this
Yeah.
is like, first of all, only Alanis that
Yeah.
like would ever do that, which is I think, which is awesome. And being the mom of 7 myself, and having to have made that choice along the way to let go of being a recording artist because I wanted to be a mom. It was such a moment, because I was like, good for once again. And continuously, she's setting the tone.
Yeah.
Setting the tone.
Of what, and it's just because that's who she is, and that's how
Exactly.
she wanted to do it.
It's authentically
Yeah.
her. She's not hiding any parts of
And
herself.
just unafraid.
And she's also not giving more than she wants to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's unafraid she's doing it. And I think as female identifying people here, like, it's beautiful to see, because a lot of the times we're shamed for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So for her to come out and lead the way in that, like so many women have done before
Yeah.
in music, is what we need. We need those people who are fearless and fearlessly them.
And we need to be those people.
We do. We need to show that
because it doesn't
example.
matter if you have 5 fans, 100 followers, or 100,000 followers. That's not the definer of who you are. It's how people feel when they're around you.
Yeah.
That's the definer. So by you being connected to yourself and being fearless and unapologetic and truly stepping into who you are and shining whatever your light is on the world, you know, is not just a rewarding way to live, but it's also a beacon for others. It gives people permission to be
do the same.
themselves. And that's what
Yes.
she did with that iconic record, is she gave us permission to call people and just scream into the void if we needed to.
Yeah.
When you allow yourself to be you, you're also giving the space to allow other people to do the same.
Exactly.
And it's living by example. And really, that all comes down to following your joy. Doing what's going to
Always.
bring you joy. Always and forever.
And follow me on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. And follow Michaela. I'm making a Michaela
Shameless plugs,
Instagram.
shameless
It's going to be
plug.
a Michaela Menzies fan group, but it's going to be called Michaela.
It's all just pictures, like
that-
just weird pictures.
Weird pictures of you,
all
but
the
it looks like
ones,
I'm stalking you. Like
All
just
the
from
ones
far
she
away.
doesn't choose to share.
Exactly.
We will
I'm
share.
sharing
We'll
on the
send them to
Michaela. So go follow at Michaela.
It's the public Finsta.
yes. Oh my God. So you're here with Jessica Pearson,
Tara Shannon.
Sam Stone.
Kayla Menzies.
also known as Michaela.
Michaela.
And thanks so much for jumping on the Syn Wagon with us. We will be back next
People are
week.
going to actually think that that's my name.
I know. I love it. Well, that is your name. Michaela. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Who are you? You're Michaela. If you have any other things that you'd like us to talk about, things that you'd want to hear more about, want our opinions on, or just want stories, let us know in the comments, rate us, do all that fun stuff. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Peace out.
I got one hand in my pocket and the other one's
Giving a peace sign.